Hello, my name is Vicki, and welcome to my Creative Corner 3. This week on the channel, I thought that we could talk about frugal living, and today specifically frugal crafting. I like to do quilting and knitting and lots of different things with the Cricut, and hobbies can be very expensive. What I want to say is frugal does not mean cheap. I am not talking about taking apart 2-ply toilet paper to 1-ply to make it go further. However, people have to do that in time of need. What I am talking about is being able to use resources and be frugal about what you're using, not overspending, setting a budget, and being able to find things on a more inexpensive level or possibly even free. First of all, I want to talk about marketing, especially to quilters and crafters. Marketing says that you need to buy everything all the time, correct? We have to develop a goal or a list of things that we want to do with our time. And when we do that, then we can look at, okay, this is what I need to buy this year. First of all, we need to look at what we have. Take an inventory. I have lots of little scraps and just a few larger pieces of fabric. So I know, generally speaking, when I go out to a craft store, which isn't very often, if I see a sale, I might impulsively buy white, light gray, and yardages for background or backing. The thing about being frugal is that we must have intention and know what we have and not fall prey to marketing impulse types of purchases. So I'm very careful about that. I have an intention to buy what I'm going to use. We make enough scraps with the things that we have to not collect lots of different types of fabrics over time. This is the thing. If you buy what's in fashion in 2020, fabric-wise for quilts, it's not going to be in fashion in 2021. And you're going to say, oh, my quilt looks dated. Yeah, I do that. Scrap quilting is an art in itself, and that takes a lot of scraps, a lot of collecting over years and trading with other people. And that's a good way to get a variety in your stash if you want to become a scrap quilter. Trade with other people. Do charm swap trades. Join a group either locally or online where everybody is trading fabric. I have done that, and I have found that you get a great variety of fabrics, and it can really help in a specific project that you may be doing. So purchase with intention and know what you have. The other thing is, if you really are tempted every time you go in a quilt shop to buy things you don't need, then don't do it. Don't go to the store. I don't live that far from a quilt shop. In fact, it's only like 3 or 4 houses from my house. And I don't go in there often. I will peruse her online website from time to time looking for sales and what's on sale. And I subscribe to the newsletter and I purchase what I need. I did recently succumb to purchasing on an impulse, and I wound up spending a lot of money on a fabric I love that I have no plan for, and it's just sad because I'm like, that's $30 worth of fabric. Hopefully it'll be enough to back a quilt that I'm going to keep because I love the fabric, but there's no intention with it. So what I would rather do to support my local quilt shop or a local quilt shop, like this particular thing I'm going to show you, was $10 a month. If I bought $10 a month worth of product from a shop versus $120 or $140 or $50 over an impulse buy, then I still have $150 worth of stuff that I'm not going to use. So these blocks, I'll have 12. I spent $10 per block. Yeah, it sounds kind of expensive until I started doing the math of purchasing with intent and not impulse buying. This had a pattern every month, so I'm purchasing a pattern for this block, and there's access to tutorials or going in the shop and having free lessons, as well as them putting the right amount of fabric in multiple colors. So I bought a sampler. You can do this at most quilt shops. They do usually have an inexpensive type of sampler. So here's the one I just did. And I was able to do this with intention. I really love the blocks. It got me to brush up on some skills that I haven't done in a while. They're in some of my absolute favorite colors. And I would never be able to get all the variety of colors if I were to just buy my own fabric. I would do like a 3 or 4 or 5 color quilt and then just keep, adding and adding. What's super fun now for frugal quilters is if you know what you like, kind of stick with that theme. Like I like solids. I tend to buy solids. They mix and match easier with some other prints that I might have on hand, but I stick with the color family, and I love these vivid, saturated, bright, and bold colors. So I don't buy things off of that color palette often, because then, like pastels, because they just don't mix and match well. You have to mix and match. So if you're a yarn person or anything that involves other fabric or materials, these can apply to you too. So maybe trading with people. Like I have rolls of Cricut stuff, vinyl and things that I don't know that I will use, but I might find somebody that I can trade. Foil, I bought a whole pack of foil, and I don't know that I'm going to use all that. Maybe I can trade it for something else, a different type of vinyl or a different type of material. Those are the things you want to network and maybe join groups online and maybe find people that you locally like to do the same things, and you're able to trade. Trading what you have that you're not in love with anymore for something that somebody else isn't in love anymore but you love. It's a marriage made in heaven. It's a match made in heaven, right? I trade a lot with my quilting friends. The other thing is I have a lot of people, once they know that you do a certain type of craft, they will probably say, hey, my aunt passed away and I have this whole closet full of stuff. Now, sometimes as a frugal person, if I have time, I will say yes, and I will go through all the things that interest me, and then I will let my friends know, hey, I've got a stash of yarn that was so-and-so's, or fabric, are you interested? And then if we take what we are going to use, and then I donate the rest to Goodwill or to a charity group. I've donated to groups that all they do is sew quilts or knit prayer shawls or things for charity. So those are some things to do with the excess that you might get, because people will give you stuff. Same with using vinyl and all the iron-ons and things for Cricut. People know, and they're not using it anymore. They may want to unload it, especially in January. This is the time of year where people are going through new year, new you, new home, and they're getting rid of all the stuff. And spring is another time. So trade with people, purchase with intention after you know what you have, and do an inventory. Limit your budget on buying, and don't impulsively allow yourself to purchase things impulsively with no plan. Maybe do a block of the month. It's structured and time limited, and one block a month, it's doable. Don't overcommit yourself to too much and then just buy too much and then have stuff everywhere. Don't be a quilting hoarder, because it will make you unhappy. Gretchen Rubin wrote a book called Outer Order, Inner Calm, and frugal living can be part of that. So frugal does not mean cheap. It means making what you have stretch further, not buying cheap materials for yarn if you don't want to work with acrylic yarn. Sometimes I do. I don't particularly like working with cheap fabrics either. So where else can you find fabrics that are inexpensive? Well, I've bought second fabrics at mills before, and I can cut around the flaw in the fabric, or I'll buy it on sale. I try to never pay full price and buy on clearance. Yep, I know it's not helpful for the quilt market or the quilt shop's economy, but that's just how it is. I use discount coupons whenever I can and double up if they'll allow it. There's certain big box stores that will. They'll separate your orders out so that you have 3 or 4 different things with 3 or 4 different coupons that I get on the app for the smartphone. And isn't that the best invention ever? And I also join things that are like Ibotta. You can make money for purchases that you have if you save your receipts, and for grocery stores. But there's also some craft places that you can redeem online coupons, or they say if you bought this time, like if you bought something to make like yarn, you'll get a certain amount of money on your account. That helps. All frugal living makes your money go further. Buy on sale, use coupons, go to Goodwill. The other part of this whole thing is I'm trying to reduce my waste and fabric and craft junk footprint. So go to Goodwill. You never know. I don't personally find much there for crafting, but I don't go often enough. Some people do, and you can find fabulous things. Someone I know just found a whole big bolt of a lot of fabric left over from an upholstery project that is brand new. It has no age to it, and it's in good shape, and they used it. I've bought things at auctions, like upholstery fabrics, garage sales. I have found fabrics for curtains and home decor. Quilting fabrics, I have seen yard sales or specific sales. Quilt guilds, quilt shops, yarn shops will have sidewalk sales. I've bought some beautiful yarn at a deeply discounted price because it was in someone's stash and they didn't like it anymore. So look around, look for estate sales, things that say, this person was a quilter or a crafter or maker, and they have some things. It's worth taking moments of your day out if you don't have to drive all over and waste gas. But if it's entertainment, it's okay. But looking at, where you can purchase things either on clearance, on sale, using coupons, secondhand stores, yard sales, auctions, flea markets. Occasionally you hit the mother lode. You just got to go and frequent some of the secondhand shops and stuff often. But this is the time of year. January is cleaning it out. Clean out the junk. Get rid of things you're not using. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And frugal living is all about taking things that maybe someone doesn't like anymore and you love it. Also, don't pay full price just because it's an expensive, exclusive store and everyone says it's the place to buy. If you know you can purchase that somewhere else, then do it. I am not a proponent of paying full price just to keep a local shop open if their prices are out of alignment of the market. And, if you go somewhere and they say, well, they can order it online for you and have it shipped to the store, why bother? I'll go on Amazon and have it shipped right to my house. The next thing is, if you're crafting and making things, like using a Cricut, I upcycle things to decorate. I don't buy what's called blanks. I wouldn't go to the store and buy a brand new jar just to put circles on it to hold my button collection. I had this on hand. I burned a candle and I cleaned it up. We yogurt jars. They're glass. They're great. They make great candle holders. And if you get real creative, you could find maybe secondhand glass. I've made garden totems out of things just sitting in my house, or maybe things I bought at the dollar store, but at the secondhand shop you can buy lots of glass and glue them together. But decorate things that you already have on hand. Super cool. Saves the environment and saves me money. I already had the vinyl, already had the candle. The last thing that frugal living people do is that when people say, it's your birthday coming up or the holidays and I want to buy you a gift, I ask them specifically for what I need right now, certain fabric lines. Or I say, a gift certificate is not a bad thing and I would thoroughly love that. So I'd be specific on the materials that I'm looking for, and I ask for it for gifts. So those are a few ideas on being a frugal crafter. And the biggest thing about being frugal is not being caught up in buying things impulsively or going to overpriced markets and boutiques because it's in your neighborhood and you love it. My local quilt shop is not overpriced, but some are. And I do frequent the clearance aisles. I use coupons, and today, since I have a day off from work, I haven't been to our Goodwill in a long time. It's January, and it might be the day where lots of people have made donations. I'm going to go look. People I work with find fantastic treasures, including, I'm hearing all the time, they find yarn and materials for crafting. So try some of these ideas to help reduce your spending and reduce your stash. Shop the stash first, and then let me know. Do you have any other ideas on frugal crafting? Make sure you let your friends know what you have and maybe what you want to trade, because that's a fantastic way to make something like this with lots of different colors. If I had lots of solids, which I do, but I needed more, I would contact my friends and say, can we swap 5-inch squares? Or I have a whole bunch of one-off yarn skeins that I can't use for a project. Do you have something to trade? Trading is as old as time and is actually very fun, in addition to buying on clearance. So y'all have a most wonderful day and be creative and quilt on, everyone.